Now, I've been pandering to the game, and I've been getting good luck for the last 2 banners I went after in the past few months, so I don't have to worry about this problem. But thankfully, I'm gracious enough to bestow upon you peasant! Welcome back to Versus, where we'll be comparing 2 units, 2B and 2B's Killer. So already 1 point goes to A2. So let's put them side by side. 2B is a physical damage dealer with a true Brave Shift, while A2 is also a physical damage dealer but with a Super Land Burst. Both are viable Brave Shift forms, and it depends on the unit's kits to make up for one's limitations. Though honestly, it's really telling that Super Land Burst units generally have to pick up the slack. So first, passives. When we look at their base stats, they actually have the same amount of attack. That's not all, for when it comes to equipment, they both have the same choices available to them. Furthermore, both kits are incredibly generous when it comes to reaching passive cats, though A2 can provide some substantial differences of her Trustmaster reward. Not to mention, 2B hasn't actually killed A2, so A2 wins this round. Now that we've looked at offensive passives, let's look at defensive potential. A2 is a Super Land Burst unit, meaning she doesn't have a second form like 2B to dedicate towards defense. However, to mitigate this, her elemental resistance is much more developed. Nevertheless, it's imperfect, and you will have to patch some parts up when necessary, potentially sacrificing some damage. 2B can go all in on defense on one form, and all in on offense on the other. Will she die if she doesn't kill the enemy? Probably, but she already died before, because she didn't use her Brave Shift. 1 point to A2 because she killed 2B. Whoa! Now let's take a look at their damage types. Both are flexible, scale off morale, and have more than 3 abilities in their kits, so I'll have to dock a point from Japanese units. They both excel with light damage, though their secondary options are notably different. 2B with lightning and A2 with wind. At the moment, lightning has better support, but they're flexible, so this isn't a major point of contention. But what about their other abilities? When it comes to support, A2 can stand there and look pretty, but 2B can provide killer buffs, elemental resistance buffs, stat buffs, evasion stacks, all the while standing there looking pretty in a gigantic robot mech! 2B wins this round. But what about the buffs? A2 can inflict an 85% defense break and a 30% greatsword imperil. 2B has a 35% katana imperil and a 25% sword, greatsword, katana, axe, hammer, spear, throwing weapon, and fist imperil. True, she doesn't provide a defense break, but there are more units with stat breaks than there are with weapon imperils. Another point to 2B. We've touched upon this before, but now let's really get into it. Their Brave Shift type. This is where 2B's greatest advantage comes into play. Speed! 2B relies on her Land Burst for big damage, while A2 relies on a cooldown ability. While both can be sped up, A2's Super Land Burst remains an integral part to strengthening her cooldown ability. And as with all Super Land Bursts, the only way to speed that up is through the Money Man himself, by getting more EX Awakenings. In contrast, 2B just needs to use her Brave Shift's Land Burst before her base Land Burst, and given her kit is extremely well designed to fill her gauge, it's no trouble at all to do so, especially when you can also bring in other units to fill it for her. 2B wins this round. But let's look at their numbers. We'll compare A2's Hateful Blade with 2B's base Land Burst, for the reasons explained in the 2 videos. When it comes to the pure multipliers, we'll see 2 varying sets, for one uses a ability while the other uses a Land Burst. At the moment, A2 has the advantage, for her Berserk attack buff grants an added bonus 2B doesn't have access to. A2 wins this round. But of course, this can be different depending on what you've got. Perhaps the equipment, perhaps it's the friends! No, not you, I mean someone like you! Either way, here look, there are friends here. What a sly advertisement by the Money Man himself. 1 point to the Money Man! By the way, I talked about base stats before, but when it comes to bonus stats, A2 ends up with higher attack overall, even if 2B happens to take her Trustmaster reward. Still, the gameplay appeal might differ for you, and you may want to fully invest in one over the other, even if it means using the other's resources. Of course, if we're going in this hypothetical direction, you'll need both units anyways. What a devious plan by the Money Man. 1 point to the Money Man! Overall, both are powerful units, even more so when working together. But when we look at the point allocation, I have to say, 9S killed A2, meaning he can probably kill 2B, But he also tripped on a rock and died, meaning I have to give all their points to the last man standing. My man Rizer!